Today we're taking a look at our Mamiya 645 to Canon EOS R RhinoCam Vertex stitching adapter. This is a lens adapter that's designed to adapt medium format Mamiya 645 lenses to your Canon EOS R RF mount camera. But this isn't just a normal adapter. This is a stitching adapter. This adapter rotates the full frame sensor of your Canon EOS R camera around the vertex of your medium format Mamiya 645 lens. You capture 4 photos, and then you stitch these photos together to create a square image that captures way more of the medium format lens's image circle. Now, this adapter isn't designed to replace other forms of photo stitching. It's more designed to capture more of the image circle of an adapted medium format lens, specifically so you can capture more of the unique qualities of an adapted medium format lens. You can get more of the image circle and create an image that looks closer to what you would capture with this lens on a Mamiya 645 film camera. It's actually a little bit easier to understand how the offset sensor stitching works by actually showing you. So let's actually remove the Mamiya 645 lens. As you can see, the full frame sensor is offset on the upper left. So we can take a photo and we rotate. Now the sensor's here, rotate, the sensor's here, rotate, the sensor is there. So as you can see, as I'm rotating the camera around this adapter, I'm actually capturing different parts of the adapted lens's image circle. Now, there is one thing we have to do to this Mamiya 645 lens before we mount it on our adapter, and that is to set our aperture to manual. Currently, it's on auto, and as you can see, as I adjust the aperture control, it's not working. The aperture is staying wide open. And that's because we have the aperture setting set to auto, so it's designed to communicate with the Mamiya 645 camera. Because we're not mounting this on a Mamiya 645 camera, we have to set this switch to M for manual. Once we have it set to manual, we can now adjust the aperture. We can open it all the way up, close it all down. Here's how to mount a Mamiya 645 lens onto this adapter. We're just going to line up the mounting dot on the lens. In this case, it's this red dot right here. We're going to line that up with the red mounting dot on the adapter, press the lens into the adapter, and rotate it to lock it into place. And then if we need to remove the Mamiya 645 lens from the adapter, we're just going to find this little silver lever here. It's actually a button. We're going to press it in, and that's going to allow us to unlock the medium format lens from the adapter. And here's how to mount the lens and adapter onto your Canon EOS R. We're just going to find the red mounting dot on the adapter, line it up with the mounting dot on the EOS R, press it together, and rotate it to lock it to place. Now, this is a fully manual adapter, so you will have to adjust the focus manually, and you will have to adjust your aperture manually. There's no electronic communication between the Canon EOS R camera and the lens, so you'll have to use manual mode or aperture priority mode. Now, to use a RhinoCam Vertex, we have to lock it down on a tripod. The lens has to be completely still while we capture the 4 images. And the nice thing about our RhinoCam Vertex adapters is they have an Arca Swiss style tripod foot. You can either use the 1/4-20 thread on the foot to lock it to a traditional tripod, or you can use the Arca Swiss style foot and just slide it directly into a tripod that supports that, tighten it down. Now, before we shoot our 4-image stitch, there are a couple things we have to do. First off, let's go to white balance and let's pick, well, in this case, let's say we're shooting out in daylight, let's pick daylight. It's good to have your white balance set to 1 point, because if you have it in auto white balance, if you're capturing 4 images, if the auto white balance changes at all, the 4 images will not stitch together as well. Also, we're going to want to pick a standard shutter speed, so all 4 shots are exposed at the same level. If you use auto exposure modes with your camera, each image might be a little different. So we're definitely going to want to shoot in manual, pick a shutter speed. Then obviously, of course, you don't see it here because we're just in a black void, but you're going to want to make sure that you have your lens focused. You're going to do that manually. Also, you're going to want to pick an aperture. Basically, because we're capturing 4 images, you want all the settings to be locked in place. You don't want to be adjusting any of the settings between the 4 shots, because when you take them, they're going to be very quick and they all need to match so they'll stitch together well in post. Now, because it is a 4-image stitch, to compose the image, you're going to kind of have to preview it. You're going to have to rotate the camera around to the 4 points and kind of get an idea of what is in your composition. And then if something is off a little bit, you can adjust it, check your 4 points again. And then once you're happy with your composition, it's time to take the shots. Okay, we've got all of our settings locked into place. We've got our composition. We've got our focus and aperture. Now it's time to take our 4 shots. So you're going to take your first shot, rotate to the second position, take your second shot, rotate to the third position, take your third shot, rotate to the fourth position, take your fourth shot, and that is it. Now you have your 4 images that you can then bring into a photo editing software of your choice. In this case, I'm using Photoshop. I'm going to the photo merge function. I'm selecting the 4 images and I'm telling the software to stitch them together in post. And just like that, the image is stitched together and we have a beautiful square image that is closer to what you'd be able to capture with this Mamiya 645 lens on a Mamiya 645 medium format film camera. Now, here are some things to keep in mind when you're using our RhinoCam Vertex stitching adapter. The first thing is don't capture crowds or traffic. Generally speaking, if you're capturing a moving crowd of people or traffic or any sort of moving subject matter, let's say maybe a herd of cows or something, as the scene is moving while you're taking your 4 shots, some of the subjects are going to actually change position. This car was moving between the 2 shots. So as you can see, it's going behind the light pole and then it's disappearing because when I took the shot on the other side of the light pole, the car had already driven off. So you're definitely not going to want to use the RhinoCam Vertex to capture moving subjects. Now, that being said, we have found that the RhinoCam Vertex works pretty well with moving water. So if you're capturing water, if you're capturing lake with waves or an ocean with waves, generally speaking, the stitching software will do a pretty good job stitching those together. Obviously, there could be exceptions. If you're really close up on the waves, those definitely won't stitch together as well. But if it's a larger scene where the waves are smaller, those should stitch okay. But something that could be tricky is if you're photographing a forest, if you're photographing nature, and there's wind blowing branches around, that scene might not stitch well together. If the branches are in different positions in the 4 images, there could be some issues. That being said, if you are capturing scenes with movement, say crowds, traffic, water, trees blowing in the wind, one of the things you can do is shoot long exposure photography. If you're capturing your 4 images and each one is blurring all the motion, those 4 images will be a lot easier for your software to stitch together. So if you want to use your RhinoCam Vertex to capture moving subjects, I definitely recommend using long exposures. Okay, that'll do it for today's video. If you have any questions or comments about this specific adapter, the Mamiya 645 to Canon RF RhinoCam Vertex, comment below. I'd love to help you out. Plus, click the link in the description below to take a look at all of the different RhinoCam Vertex adapters we have to offer, including this one. Also, click right here to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos just like this one.